Hello, welcome or welcome back to Sapling Tarot. My name is Imogen. Today I'm going to be talking to you about what I've been up to for the last 3 months. I've got some nature observations and hopefully some photos. I've got some things I've been doing and potentially what you're most interested in. I've got the decks I've been working with. I've got some things I've been studying, some small businesses to shout out, and then some like films and TV and music and games and all that kind of good stuff, just like generally how I've been occupying my time over this inexplicably second quarter of 2024. So I hope you will join me. This may well end up being a bit of a longer video because I have a tendency to ramble, but you'll actually have a better idea than I do right now of whether or not that's true. So I guess I'll jump straight in with the decks. So I started off the quarter with using Outgrow Yourself Tarot and Oracle for Aries season. So that straddles the end of March, beginning of April. But it feels like, I don't know, I suppose like to me it does feel like quite a fiery deck. I also ended up using it for something else which I'll get into later, which is less fiery but I suppose similarly spiky. This is a little bit of a, well, certainly like my bits of tarot tubes, this is like a bit of a kind of a darling deck, which makes me laugh because it is so brutal. But this was how I started the month, and I've continued to reach for it throughout the quarter because it's just so on the money all the time, and it's, yeah, I've talked about it before, but it's like what I look for in like effectively a friend. And so chatting to this deck has been a lovely thing to dip in and out of over the last couple of months. My theme for April was from the magical guidance cards was moon magic. So I had this card out, and then for Taurus season, so we're still, you know, going from March into, no, not March, April into May. Oh, I'm definitely going to be getting my months mixed up, I'm so sorry. Was the Herb Crafters Tarot, which I've painted this like slightly shitty bag for. But you might have actually seen me paint in some of my videos, but this was my Taurus season. You know, that's probably fairly self-explanatory. Being quite an earthy green deck, but also I've been getting increasingly into my kind of herbalism studies and stuff. I really enjoyed working with this deck for Taurus season. The guidebook is really good. There are a lot of plants in here that I recognise and that I either grow or have grown or are like native around me, more than I thought there would be, given that the creators of this deck are from an entirely different continent to me. But it's been really lovely working with this deck and then seeing what I can spot out and about. So it was a good choice for late spring, early summer, I suppose, because these sorts of things are starting to become more abundant and a bit more obvious out and about. So yeah, so that was lovely. And then alongside that, for May, this was my magical guidance for May. It was the ink card, and we will get on to how I worked with that in a minute if you haven't already noticed. I did Tarot Magpie's Marseille for May thing with the Le Tarot typo, butchering the French. This is a super fun Marseille deck with slightly different mages, but it's got like the correct Marseille configuration. I'll talk about the books I used to work with this on Thursday's video, but I really enjoyed working with it, and I think this is one that I got because of Kelly Bear's So You Think Marseille Decks Are Ugly video. It's not my usual thing. I mean, Marseille decks aren't my usual thing, but also these kinds of colours aren't, I don't know, all this kind of like bold, digital, crisp artwork isn't my usual thing, but I quite like that it's sort of tattooy. So yeah, so this was my main like Marseille for May deck, and I really enjoyed that. And then with that, because I was dealing with the French language deck, I decided to just be really mean to myself and work with a French language oracle, which is the Poesis oracle, but in the French, because, yeah, glutton for punishment. I'm not a very proficient French speaker, but I've wanted this deck for ages, and Angel from Feeding Your Soul 1212 or 1212 mentioned that you can get a mass market version of it if you're okay with it being in French, and so I've got my annotated guidebook that I've been working through, and I've got like a document on the computer and stuff, so that's like a funny sort of additional challenge. Some of the words I'm more familiar with than others, and yeah, apparently I just like to make life a little bit harder for myself, but they worked really nicely together, like the or I think the colour palettes, like with this kind of like greeny cream like black and white sort of thing, and then these really bold, I don't know, I thought they worked quite well together. But yeah, lots of translation having to happen in May, because like I say, I just like creating more work for myself, apparently. But it was really fun, and I'm glad to have this. The cardstock is like squeaky, which I don't love, and I would like to know if the indie English language one is as squeaky, and if it is, then I probably don't want it, but if it isn't, then I may well pursue that further. And then June, we've got a bit of a stack here, because I did the June tarot challenge thing on Instagram by Lionheart, which was to do with like merging your own personal astrology and tarot and stuff, and that was quite interesting. But I used 3 different decks for that. So I used the Lillifer, which was my main June deck. I used that for like the intro and the outro and any Gemini prompts, and then I used the Spacious Tarot for my moon placements, and then I used Outgrow Yourself for my rising placements, which is Scorpio, and my moon is Aquarius. So I'll have a little riffle through, well, not an actual riffle, but just a little, show you some of these. I have fallen head over heels for Lillifer this past month. It is such a good deck. Working with it has been such a treat. I'm already like sad that I've had to put her away. Yeah, just what a belter of a deck. Really enjoy. I hadn't even really thought about it when I started the astrology challenge, but the the cards all have like the astrological stuff on them, so that was really useful. But yeah, used this for the month of June. Did more readings in June just for myself than I usually would, just because I was really enjoying working with the deck. I also was using it with the Bloom and Lovelies Oracle by Zeppelin Moon. And it's just, I don't know, I think they're very different, but they work together because there's just like this, like, irreverence, I suppose. Lucifer, my hot ship brings all the flies to the yard. I mean, I can see it. I'm sure you can see it too. You know, the Emperor telling you to check your flaps. I think it works. So that was my main June decks. Yeah, I've been kind of like, oh, was it June? Well, it was like Gemini season I was using Lillifer and Bloom and Lovelies for. And so I've already like shifted into Cancer season. But I guess I'll talk about that like next time. I'm using the Ritual Tarot, but I haven't got it out right now, so we'll talk about that next time. I've got more than enough decks out on my desk. Oh, this is just all so beautiful. And then, like I said, I was using the Spacious Tarot as well for my Aquarius placements. I've separated out the expansion pack, and just because I was doing like, I suppose like they were really like specific questions and prompts and like spread positions and stuff, so having the expansion thing didn't really work so well. Oh, have I separated out all the majors? Yeah. Remember to shuffle all those back in. Oh, this is for my solar return spread. That's why this is all like this. But yeah, it's a fab deck. It's one of my oldest, if not my oldest. It's not quite my oldest, but it's my oldest in, like, one of my oldest indie decks, and I love it very, very much. It gets a fair amount of use. Yeah, so I'll pop that away. I've already shown you Outgrow Yourself, which is what I used for my Scorpio questions. And is that it? Is that all the decks? But yeah, so I had the 3 magical guidance cards for the 3 months were Moon Magic, Ink and Bane. I'll admit I haven't really done anything with Bane. I thought I might, or at the very least like reread of Blood and Bones or Twisted Hexes or something. I haven't really had time in June to do that, and yeah, so I mean, what were the other things? Negative Magic, Return to Sender, Defend, Hexing, Cursing, Baneful. I haven't really had the time or the energy to do any of that, so I've kind of missed that. I genuinely cannot remember what I did for Moon Magic, and ink-wise, I've been getting back into, so this is Draw, Paint, Ink, Tattoo. I've been getting back into doing some more analogue art rather than just like purely digital. I lean towards the digital art stuff because I can do it from bed without things getting terribly messy, but it's been really nice to get back into doing a wee bit of painting, just like some normal like pencil sketching type stuff. I really want to get back into textile art, and I feel like I've already said that in a video, so I just need to actually do the thing rather than just talking about it. But like get my embroidery stuff out would be a good thing to do. But the main thing that I did in May with this was I booked myself my first tarot tattoo. So I've got the, what's the Ace of Swords from the Ritual Tarot, kinda. It's just a tiny kniff, and then I've got a little Mercury on on my thumb. So that's what I did. That was my birthday present to myself and my ink thing, and it all worked out very nicely. And yeah, so that was my themes. And oh, I didn't tell you the tarot cards that I was working with either. I should have pulled those out. So I was working with the 10 of Wands for April, and then the 7 of Cups for May, and then the 10 of Pentacles for June. And I've really felt that shift from like the work through the fuzz and then to like some sort of vision of an outcome. Things are just feeling like a little bit clearer in terms of what I need to be doing and where I want to be putting my energy and like the path forward, and that feels like such a relief, which probably sounds a bit strange, like to be like clearer in the work I need to be doing, which is like effectively like tripled my to-do list sort of thing of the things I want to be doing. But things have just felt really muddy for the past little while, and I've kind of wanted to do things and change things, but I haven't really known what to do, and that is getting a little bit clearer now. So that's like the decks. What shall I show you while I'm chatting about other stuff? I'm going to put these to one side because otherwise I'm going to lose them. I'm going to do Pose This and Outgrow Yourself and see how that goes. So yeah, so nature-wise, it's the best of the seasons. I am biased because I'm a Gemini baby. I think spring, summer, like early summer, is probably the best time of year. I mean, they all have their like pros and cons. I say as I sniffle with hay fever. But like the gratitude I feel and like the luckiness I feel that I have access to a garden is just unparalleled. It's been so amazing and has actually been like encouraging me to leave the house to like see things progressing in the garden. So there was like, first there was all the blossom, so like cherry blossom, apple blossom, hawthorn, blackthorn, not in that order, but I mean they were just amazing. And then also we planted some calendula, like pot marigold seeds last year, and they inexplicably overwintered, so they're just like back and better than ever. And then some California poppies self-seeded, so we had like, I don't know, 5 to 10 California poppies last year, and now we have like 100. And they're just these beacons of like high-vis orange in the gravel of our garden with these little funny little hands, like kind of frog hand leaves, and they're just amazing. They're so colourful and so joyful, and it's just made everything so much easier. And then the roses, there are a lot of wild roses near me, and then also we have like a native sort of wild rose hedge with dog roses and rugosa roses, and so that's just been amazing. But then we also have like classic other scented roses, and they just make me so happy. We've got one that looks like raspberry ripple ice cream, and then a whole bunch of pink ones and a yellow one and a bunch of white ones. This is some card, and it's just, yeah, it's just really, it's been really lovely. And then I've been like dabbling in drying flowers. Am I going to show you? Well, yeah, okay, I can show you these ones. This is like part of the reason why I've not really been filming all that many videos, is because my desk has just been covered in drying flowers. These are the raspberry ripple. I don't know if you can really see that. I have actually been like pressing them as well. So yeah, it's just trying to like preserve some of the colour. But yeah, I just think they're amazing, and that's been like what's been grabbing my attention mainly, and I just like haven't wanted to disturb them. And also it's the, you know, the executive function thing of I generally try and keep my desk as clear as possible so that I can work or do videos or do, you know, whatever you need a desk for. And if I don't keep it clear, then that's just like one boundary too many to me doing a thing, which sounds ridiculous, but it's just the truth of my existence. So yeah, so that's been like the naturey things. Other stuff I've been doing, my friend started doing an online like, board games night. So for most of April and May we were doing Lords of Waterdeep, which is definitely related to a game that I haven't played, and I'm very bad at it and I lose every week, and I don't mind because then, you know, at least no one else has to feel like a loser. But yeah, it's been really fun, and it's been nice to just like hang out with people online. It's just quite like low effort, low stakes kind of stuff, but it's been really nice. And I did the Leith Witchcraft Market for Beltane and the Beltane Fire Festival, both of which are in like a little teeny tiny travel vlog thing up on my channel from like the beginning of May. And I had my birthday, so you know, happy birthday to me. I did my Solar Return spread, actually on film, which is a fun and comically intimate thing to put on the internet. And yeah, that's so things I've done in the last 3 months. 4 things. Or like things that I wanted to talk about anyway. I'm sure I've done other stuff. Favourite video that I've put up in the last 3 months is my Tarot and Tism video, which if you haven't watched, you could go and do that if you so wanted to. I thought it was quite good. Other people seemed to enjoy it and felt like more like seen and understood, which is always my goal in anything I ever do. So that was lovely. And what else do I want to talk about? So I finished my level 2 counselling course. Good job me, gold stars for sticking that out. Even with all the other weird stuff that's kind of shoehorned into these sorts of courses. I've done the Vitalist Herbalism with Rowan and Sage, which was very cool. And oh no, I have down that I did Lodo's Botanicals with Banefolk and Rowan and Sage, which I didn't do because I fucked up my my login. So I didn't do that, which is very sad. Something I wanted to do, which I don't think I did last time I did one of these videos, is like a little sort of like small business shout out thing. Sort of like clear myself some space. I've got my little, oh no, look at the camera. Got my little pile of things. So some of these you will have already seen from like various videos, but I thought I'd like pop them all together. So I've got these stickers from Rachillu, a Scottish artist who I love very much, and then also these ones from Hagstone Art, which I think are fab, and I kind of wish that you could see them better through the glossy cover. And then while I'm here, I've got Sylvie's Zines of Tarry Magpie, and these are just brilliant. Please excuse my terrible like folding and zine stuff, but these are brilliant. So then I've got these like signet rings, which are like related to my family, and these are from a Etsy business from America called Trumpet For Two. And so I've got my little oak leaf and my little acorn I think those are brilliant, and they do all sorts of ones, and they do like all sorts of like not safe for work ones, which were very tempting, but yeah. I don't know, because the thing is that like I always like I have such scabby hands because I pick as like a stimmy thing, which is kind of gross, but you know, if I'm doing videos with my hands or, you know, just tarot readings and stuff, I use my hands a lot, and so I would like to be the kind of person who has like an interesting selection of rings, and so I thought they would be a fun little thing. And then also, if you saw my perfume video, which like was like perhaps better in my head than it was in practice, but I got these perfume oils from Pebble, and I think this is my favourite one, called Ghost Whale. Those are very cool. And then yeah, this is the last one that I want to mention. There are like other ones on my list, but I didn't pick up the stuff to talk about and like to show you, so I'll leave those for another time. But yeah, this is the Quiet Orchard, who makes these brilliant like lino cut print patches that I don't quite know what to do with, because I really want to put it on like the pocket of some jeans, but then I don't want to wash it and ruin it. I do tend to wash my jeans. I used not to do that, but then COVID and stuff, I just tend to like wash my clothes more often now. So yeah, but this is the Quiet Orchard. They printed their own book. It's like handmade paper, and they've like printed, oh, this is the Selkie, by the way, and then they've printed folk tales into this incredible like hand-bound, handmade, hand-printed book, and I just think that it's absolutely incredible. And I mean, it's like, it's so incredible that it's like almost offensive that someone has gone through the trouble to do all of this. And I followed them on Instagram for a little while, and I saw that they did this, and I was just like, oh, I have to support that. What an unbelievable project. And their whole thing is what is it? MILF, Man I Love Folklore. But yeah, so I wanted to show you that because I think it's really, and you know, we love a bibliography. I don't even know if you can see any of this because it's like so fine, but I just think it's incredible. And I will do what I can to link stuff below, because cool blimey. Oh, it looks really nice with the like the Poesis stuff. That's nice. That's really nice. Nice is such a damp word to use, but you know what I mean. It's just good stuff. Then media wise, I rewatched all the X-Men films and was just irritated anew at the idea that we can like make and watch these films and for them to be like so successful, and for us not to like see the connection with like the underdog in real life. Like, we understand these motivations in fiction and in like comic books and stuff, and we root for the underdog, and we root for, you know, the dissolution of systems of oppression, and we root for the rebellion and all of these things. And then in real life we're just like, oh, but don't interfere with my commute, or you know, like kind of, oh yes, but you have to do it quietly and politely and all of that stuff. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just kind of sad. But I really like those films. Like, I rewatched all of them, even ones I hadn't seen before. Like, I hadn't seen Dark Phoenix or the one before it, Apocalypse, before. And they're just ridiculous, aren't they? They're just very, very silly films, but they're quite pleasing. Apart from, you know, as is unfortunately inevitable at this point with successful films from however long ago, you're just like, no, you've been accused of whatever. You've been gross. But yeah, I digress. I also watched Fallout because everyone was talking about it, and I liked it but did not see quite what all the fuss was about. So if you did see what the fuss was about, please can you explain that to me? I would really appreciate it. And I'm not being sarcastic, I genuinely mean it. I think I missed something. I hadn't played the games, but I also know loads of people who enjoyed it who also hadn't played the games. So yeah, if you could explain that, that would be great. I watched Big Mood because Nicola Coughlan has been all over everything. I don't have a Netflix access anymore, so I haven't seen the new Bridgerton, but I went and watched Big Mood on, I was about to call it 4OD, you know, Channel 4 on demand or whatever, and I think it is available in the US and around the world, which is about, Nicola Coughlan plays a character with bipolar, and it was really good, it was really funny, it was really sad. It felt like quite a good, or like accurate, but also like with levity, which is, you know, life representation of mental illness. And it's always really good, I think, to see other mental illnesses portrayed in media, not just the slightly less stigmatized ones. So, you know, I'm not saying there's not stigma around anxiety and depression. There obviously absolutely is, particularly as and when they intersect with the requirements of capitalism. We're like, as a culture, like the culture that I live in, getting better with those. We're not getting better with the other ones. Whether it be something like bipolar or schizophrenia or anything that involves any kind of like psychosis, which, you know, can even be like PTSD and complex PTSD. And there are a lot of mental health conditions that kind of come under the category of neurodivergence, and again, some neurodivergences are more socially acceptable than others because it's like the interplay with capitalism. And so if you can still be like a productive member of society, people will give you less shit than if you're like mad and can't or don't do whatever it is that society expects of you. So I think it's cool to have more representations of stuff like that in media. I don't have bipolar, so I'm not, you know, like the be-all end-all in terms of judgments of whether it was a respectful or accurate representation of it, but it felt comfy and funny and awful and all of the things that you would kind of hope it would be, I guess. But I really liked it, and she's such a babe and she's such a good actress, and I'm so prepared for her song to go to like #1. I started rewatching The Great and then somehow fell off that, but yeah, the costuming is so good in that, and it's so silly and so funny, and I can't work out if it's like problematic or if it's like funny and clever enough that it's not. I don't know. Greater minds than mine can decide whether or not it's an issue or not. But I think it's beautiful, and I need to go back to watching that. I also watched Orphan Black Echoes because Kristen Ritter is everything. I remember watching her in, is it the bitch from Apartment 2B or something, and being like, you are wasted in this terrible television programme. And then she was in, and I mean, I may well be getting the chronology of this mixed up, she was in Breaking Bad, and then she was Jessica Jones, and I just think she's brilliant and very beautiful, but I think that she's a really brilliant actress, and I thought she was really good in Orphan Black Echoes, and now I want to go back and watch the original again, even though it was like quite a long series and it got really dark at points, so I don't know if I'm ready to do that, because I am watching The X-Files, and I hadn't watched much of it before, and I don't know what I was doing, because it's great. It's very silly, but also very like deep and philosophical at points, and some of it is like absolutely harrowing, like the body horror type stuff, which I hadn't really anticipated, and some of it's very philosophical, and it's, yeah, I'm having a great time. Apparently I didn't watch any films the last 3 months, or if I did, they weren't sufficiently of note for me to write them in my little list. Games wise, we're in the final stretch now. 40 minutes, we're in the final stretch, I promise. I will let you go very, very soon. Games wise, I'm back playing modded Minecraft because I'm an 11-year-old boy. but this time with Stardew and Pokemon mods, which I highly recommend. I've just been planting fruit trees and having a whale of a time. I've then also been back on Sunhaven, which Sylvie Terry Magpie is like single-handedly responsible for, that I'm now like thinking in dragons and crops and stuff, and they've just had like a big update, and now you can like meet mer people, and it's just, I had shit to do, Sylvie, and now I'm just spending all my time doing this. And then I've also decided that my new moon manifesting routine is just going to be to like build my dream life in The Sims, because I have The Sims. I've spent so much money on like Sims expansion packs over the years, I might as well get some use out of them. So, and I mean, I do play The Sims in the way that most Sims players do, which is absolutely obsessively for 2.5 weeks, and then you don't touch it for 18 months. So yeah, it's been a good way to like get myself back into playing it in like maybe a more measured way. And yeah, I've been just having fun playing games, which I hadn't done for a while. And then music-wise, Spotify made a Frolic playlist, which is just everything I want from music, really. So I've been listening to that and a Riot Girl playlist interchangeably, depending on my mood. My brother got me on AirBuds, which has made me more aware of my music consumption, and the kind of, again, familial feast nature of it, and also the comically disparate nature of the stuff that I listen to. So if any of you are on AirBuds, I only have one friend on there, which is my significantly younger brother, and I feel very old and very, not lonely, but I just feel very out of touch. So if any of you want to be AirBuds, please let me know. But yeah, that's it. That's us. That's my last 3 months in a nutshell. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for having watched any of my videos over the last 3 months, 6 months, if you have. If you would like to stick around for the next 3+ months, you could always subscribe. I'll develop a pattern for suggesting the whole liking and subscribing thing eventually, but I'm not there yet, so I'm just going to awkwardly be like, you could subscribe if you want to. Cheers! But yeah, I hope you're taking really good care of yourself, and I will catch you in the next one, which is Thursday, which will be what I've been reading for the last 3 months. Bye!